Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll start tonight's class coming down into a constructive rest on our backs. Letting our feet come flat and the knees up towards the ceiling. Maybe they start to touch each other, add in just a little support. Your hands can rest on your body. Maybe lay alongside you on the floor with the palms face up. Making sure the back of your head and your shoulders are resting gently against the floor, or maybe a pillow or blanket. As you take a moment to settle in here, know that you're always welcome to take any other resting pose if this one is not feeling comfortable in your body in this moment, from sitting to laying or anything in between. As you settle in, maybe you allow your eyes to start to grow heavy, the eyelids closing completely, or maybe just a little, growing heavy. Letting your vision blur over. And then start to slow your breathing down. Let it become a little more intentional, a little longer, a little slower, maybe even a little deeper. Maybe you start to notice the subtle movements as your body finds that breath. Maybe you feel a flare in the nostrils, constriction in the throat, a broadening of the shoulders, widening of the rib cage, or a softening on the exhale. We'll take just a moment to begin to notice our external awareness as well. Maybe taking a moment to notice the temperature of the air that touches our skin, or even a smell in our environment. Maybe there's a candle burning, or perfume nearby, or a lovely plant. Or maybe there's no smell at all, and that in and of itself is the great smell. We'll then take the deepest breath of our day so far. As we pull the air in, we'll hold that breath at the top for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And on the 1, begin your slow, steady exhale. We'll repeat this cycle a few times on your own. Inhaling, long and steady, a 5 count, your 5 count. It doesn't have to match the one I just did. As you hold at the top. And then a slow, steady exhale, letting it all empty out. What a gift it is to be alive. As humans, we can become so consumed with our difficulties that we can sometimes forget, and often sometimes forget, to celebrate the miracle of being alive. Being human is simply the greatest gift. To be able to breathe, to feel, and to even experience the world is something worth celebrating every day. We wake up and our minds automatically begin to sort through our to-do list, our problems, and even our distractions. But can we wake up and celebrate how precious life is instead? Can we feel the air on our skin, the breath in our lungs, and the beating of our hearts. Can you allow yourself to feel your aliveness, to celebrate it? Because the little joys are all around us, reminding us of the possibilities for happiness that are here in the present. Often in classes, I talk about joy, and I have my students pick something small, something that isn't obvious. Little joys, such as how the warm sun warms your face, or the sound of birds outside a window. These things remind me of the thrill of being alive. For it's those little joys that we often take for granted. And sometimes we even miss them completely. So today, let us allow our eyes to open to the world around us. Let our ears open to the sounds around us. And maybe even let our hearts open to the little joys that are everywhere. We'll begin to allow our breathing to return to its natural rhythm. And then we'll take a moment, offer ourselves just a little bit of gratitude that we took time out of our busy day to slow things down and meet ourselves here in this space, connecting with a little joy. As you're ready, start to wiggle fingers and toes, flutter the eyes open. They were closed. Let your breathing return to normal. Maybe stretch those legs out, stretch those arms out. Take a full body stretch from fingers to toes. Maybe even a big yawn. And then as you're ready, finding your way into a seated position of your choice. We're going to start with sending our legs out long though. So if you want to put something like a pillow or a block or blanket under your hips, you're welcome to do that. And then send both feet long out in front of you, lengthening up through your spine, starting to engage the core just a little bit. And then let's bend our right leg, putting the sole of the foot on the floor. And then we'll bend our left leg, putting the sole of the foot on the floor. We'll keep a little bit of distance between our legs so that we have room for our bodies. And we're going to take a loving kindness boat, or what's called a loving boat. You may have taken this in one of my classes before. If you're not familiar, just a gentle reminder. You can hold under your legs or over your legs, but as we inhale, we lengthen the spine, and as we exhale, we curl in towards our legs, letting our chin come down towards our chest. Creating this little loving cocoon for yourself for just a moment. And as you feel your breath here, today's practice, we're gonna have a little bit of flow today. We're gonna have a little bit of movement. I'm gonna ask you to maybe tap into a little bit of childlike joy throughout our practice. Seeing if you can tap into that beauty of being alive here today. But no, if everything's going a little fast or a little slow, you can always change it up. Always listening and knowing that you are the best authority on how your body moves today. All right, with our next inhale, start to bring the spine up long and tall. We'll send those legs out long once more into our seated step. And then we'll hug that right knee in towards our chest, bringing the foot just inside of the foot or inside of the leg or outside of the leg. It's up to you what feels better in your body. We're going to take a sage twist. We're going to bring our right hand behind us, supporting us, pressing into the ground or even a block if you want to put a block back there. But we're lengthening our spine by doing that. As we inhale, we're going to take our left hand up and overhead and then exhale to twist your left shoulder towards your right knee. You can hug it with your hand, hug it with your elbow. You can even hook that elbow on the outside as you start to twist towards your right shoulder. Taking this lovely sage twist. Exhale, release. Let's take that left side. Left leg comes in, straighten up, left hand down, right hand up. Exhale, twist to the left. Each inhale allows your spine to lengthen just a little bit more. And each exhale allows you to dip even deeper into the twist, one softening breath at a time. Exhale to unwind, bring it back, legs forward, and then let's bring our legs into a hero's pose. So knees come, we come to sit on our knees. You can tuck those toes or untuck the toes, whatever feels better for your body. And as always, bringing props like pillows, blankets, or blocks under the hips can really add just a nice touch of comfort. And then let's go ahead and lean a little bit forward, bringing our fingertips down either to the mat or you could bring them to a prop like a block. We're going to bring our palms forward, fingertips down, and then we're going to start to bring our fingertips onto the prop or the floor as we press our palms towards the prop or the floor. And this will stretch out through the wrist and the forearms. And this is a peacock stretch. You could take it one at a time, or you could take and add a little pressure and let up a little pressure, or you could just hold the pressure, depending on how those joints and muscles are feeling. You might be able to bring those hands all the way down to the ground, or you might have a little bit of an angle. All of these are acceptable and awesome options. Great job. Inhale to come back up to your straight spine, sitting on your heels. And then let's interlace our fingers, creating a little fist here, and start to find some rolling motion in our wrists. You can even do a wave, you can twist them and turn them. Really any type of movement here just to get some blood flowing through those wrists. We are going to be doing a little bit of wrist pressure of loading the joints today, so feel free to get a little looser, maybe shake them out, anything that feels good. Alrighty, from here, let's come into a tabletop, bringing hands under shoulders and knees under hips. Go ahead and bring your spine straight from hips all the way to the top of the head. And with our next exhale, I want you to start to drop your lower belly into cow pose. Holding it there, bring your gaze up, start to squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then with our next inhale, we're going to just come back to that flat back. Straight spine. And then we'll go between these two options. So dropping the belly for cow pose, and then bringing it back for tabletop. And we're not going through to cat-cow just yet. We'll get there eventually. But we're playing with this lower back and this lower hips and abdomen area. This will be an area we're working on throughout our practice and Wild Thing when we start to get a little bit more playful later. So noticing how that feels, to feel that deep arch in the back as the belly drops. Great job. All right, go ahead and bring it back to your tabletop. And then let's go ahead and lower down to our bellies. Coming on into a Sphinx pose, slide those hands out in front of you, palms parallel. And then begin to look over towards your right shoulder, moving through your neck. And then exhale Look over to your left shoulder. Take this left to right a couple times on your own. Great job. All righty, come back through center. Place the hands back under the shoulders, push back into your tabletop. And then immediately start to round your spine up into cat pose, dropping chin to chest. And then take a couple of breaths in cat-cow on your own, noticing how it feels to go from that deep back bend to that arch of the spine. Great job. All right, let's go ahead and pause in our tabletop. For this next movement, you're welcome to bring blocks under the hands if you'd like a little more support, but it is not necessary. That doesn't feel good for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to tuck our toes and then either lifting one knee or maybe both knees. Let them hover just a little bit off the ground. You're doing great. Now, let's see about lifting your right heel and kicking it towards your hip. And then left. See a little playfulness here, kicking like a donkey. Left to right. Great job. Bring those knees down. Maybe sit back in heroes and roll out those wrists. You've done a great job there. All righty. From here, let's inhale, pull ourselves forward to a plank or a half plank. You can leave those knees down or take the tuck the toes and lift the knees. Great job. Now from our plank pose, we are going to tuck the toes and move into our first downward facing dog. If your wrists or lower back are feeling at all uncomfortable, you're always welcome to bring that downward dog up onto a wall, giving you a little bit of a different angle. And know that's true throughout our practice today. All right, take just another breath here. Big breath in, holding for that 5 count at the top. And then sigh it out. All right, let's build just a little bit more heat from the body, going as fast or as slow as you would like to go. Roll like a wave back to your plank or half plank. And then roll like a wave back to downward dog. Take this movement for about 2 to 5 cycles, again, depending on how fast you want to go. And if you're taking this from a wall option, you would go from that downward dog and then create your plank by loading your wrist joints on the wall. And then sink it back for downward dog. All right, one last cycle. Ending in your downward dog. And then let's go ahead and drop our knees to a tabletop. We're going to bring our right hand directly under our face. And then let's come into a grounded side plank, turning that grounded knee, foot out to the back, and then extending your left leg long, starting to stack wrists and shoulders in a straight line. Beautiful job. Exhale, come through your tabletop. And then let's take that to the other side. Your top arm can be up towards the ceiling or alongside the ear. Try to keep your grounded wrist and shoulder in a straight line. Great job. Exhale. Go ahead and come back into your tabletop. Tuck those toes, downward facing dog. One big breath here. Sigh on the exhale. And then begin to look back towards your feet and then walk your hands towards your feet, coming into a standing forward fold. Great job. Inhale, halfway lift, figure 7. Gaze stays down. Exhale, hinge and fold. Bend the knees, sink the hips, roll it all the way up to tall mountain. Exhale, bring it into our mountain pose. From here, let's take our hands behind our back. Interlace those fingers, draw the knuckles down towards the floor, and you're always welcome to grab your shirt, opposite wrist, opposite elbows, or simply bring something like a strap behind your back and hold at where it's comfortable. Our goal here is to draw the knuckles down, roll the shoulders back, start to lift the heart, lift the chin, and then keeping the softness in your legs, maybe find a little twist and bounce here. A little playfulness, a little joy at how your body's moving in this moment. Great job. Find your stillness. We're going to keep our hands exactly where they are, but we're going to start to bend our knees and hinge forward, coming into our forward fold. Those hands can stay on the hips. They can start to lift off the hips, or you can drop them to the floor or a prop if you would like. The shoulder stretch is not feeling good for you today. Beautiful job. With our next exhale, hands come towards the hips. We'll inhale to roll up to tall mountain, arms overhead, and then take it directly into a little back bend, taking those hands back. Great job. Exhale, hinge into your forward fold once more. Inhale, halfway lift. Place your right hand directly under your face, and like an archer pulling a bow and arrow, lift that opposite hand towards the ceiling. Great job. Switch sides. Arch your arm. Twist. Exhale to release. Beautiful job. From here, grab opposite elbows. Take a ragdoll. Let yourself sway from side to side. Great job. Releasing hands from opposite elbows, maybe holding on your hips or your legs or even your ankles or big toes. Draw yourself a little closer in body towards your legs, noticing how that feels through those thigh muscles. Exhale to release. Plant the palms. Sink it back to a plank or a half plank. Great job. Exhale to lower. Inhale, Sphinx. Now from our Sphinx pose, you can keep your hands at about shoulder distance, or you could go a little bit wider here, but we're going to start to press into those arms, straightening those arms a little or a lot, pressing into the hands, taking our Sphinx pose into an even deeper back bend. Great job. Exhale, release forehead to the mat. Now you can take either that same option or maybe take that bind at your lower back, grabbing opposite elbows, wrists, shoulder, elbows, or strap or shirt. And we'll take an intense cobra, letting our hands lift our shoulders, lift our forehead off the mat. Great job. Exhale to release, sliding hands back into that Sphinx pose. And then go ahead and interlace your hands in front of your face. Now from here, we're going to either tuck those toes if you're taking full plank, or tuck the knees if you're taking half plank. Engage your core, let that fire burn. Come on up into a forearm plank or half plank. Great job. We're going to take 5 hip dips on each side, letting one side lean down towards the floor and then over to the other. Again, this can be on your knees or your toes. Take it at your own pace. A nice little hip twist here. All right, balance out both sides. Go ahead and let your hips come down to the floor. Slide your hands under your shoulders. Press up through a tabletop. And let's find an embryo pose. Similar to child's pose, we bring our knees together though. And then maybe the forehead comes to the floor or a prop as we roll our torso over our legs, letting our shoulders roll out to the edges of our knees. Hands back by the heels, touching your breath, taking a moment to notice the joy of how your body has been moving. Great job. As you're ready, start to make your way out of your embryo pose, and we'll find our downward dog option once again. As we'll be spending a few movements in this flow moment, you're welcome to go ahead and bring that up to the wall if that feels better for you. All right, last breath in downward dog. Next inhale, right leg reaches up, three-legged dog. Inhale, bring your knee towards your nose, round it in, and then step it forward for a crescent lunge. Stacking hips and shoulders. Feel that active lower body. You're doing great here. Exhale, hands circle to frame the front foot. Step back to three-legged dog. This time, bend the knee and open the hip. Look out under the arm. Beautiful job. Send it back to three-legged dog. Downward facing dog. From here, if you're feeling very energetic and you'd like to do a flow, you can go to a plank, a cobra, or an up dog and meet me back here in downward dog, or you can just stay in downward dog for another breath or two. Great job. Let's take that second side. Left leg reaches up, three-legged dog. Inhale, knee to nose, step it through, crescent lunge. Beautiful job. Exhale to plant the hands, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip, look out under the arm. Inhale to bring it back through, downward facing dog. And then go ahead and drop the knees for tabletop. All righty, we're going to revisit that side plank that we were in earlier, bringing our right hand directly under our face, turning those right toes out, sending that left leg long, and starting to reach up towards the sky. Now we're going to play with a little wild thing here, variation today. So we're going to take that top leg, instead of keeping it in line with the hip, I want you to draw it in a half circle back behind you, a little or a lot. And then we're going to take that top hand, and instead of going over the ear, we're going to bring it way behind you. And then in your abdomen, in your lower belly, can you recall that cow pose from the beginning of our practice where we had that arch in our lower spine? Beautiful job. Go ahead and take that top arm and start to explore here, taking it in circles. They can be big circles, they can be little circles. Great job. Now let's take that in the other direction. Those circles. Beautiful job. Bring it back into your side plank. Back leg comes forward. Exhale through a tabletop. We're going to take that same hand that was just lifted, lift it back out to the side, and then thread the needle, dropping the shoulder and ear towards the floor or toward the prop as we draw that arm between our body and our other arm. Beautiful job. Let's bring it back to tabletop and take that second side. Side plank. Set up, stack. You're doing great. Now we're going to start to find our wilding variations of that front leg, top leg. It's going to come behind us a little or a lot. We're going to start to peel our heart open as we fling gently that hand behind us, the top arm. And then recall that low body cat-cow in the lower spine. And then as you're ready, maybe start to find some arm movement here. Big or little circles. Rotating through that joint. And then let's reverse it. Great job. Bring the hand back down to the floor. Tabletop. Inhale, same hand lifts. Exhale, thread the knee. Great job. Inhale, come back through your tabletop. And unwind the spine a little bit with a couple of cat-cows on your own. Matching your breath to your movement. Great job. All right, find a little bit of stillness. We're going to revisit our peacock fingers from tabletop, either taking them out to the side or maybe back towards your knees, kind of like we were before. Again, those palms don't have to be all the way on the ground. You could even bring them in towards each other if that's what the wrist stretch you need in this moment is. And then find either a little bit of stillness or you could rock back and forth or side to side. Any movement that feels good on those wrists. Great job. From here, let's go ahead and come up to standing on our knees. We're going to take our right leg. We're going to extend it long for a gate pose. We're going to line up our left side. Start to lift that left arm overhead. And with an exhale, hinge it towards the right. Being mindful to keep that top shoulder pulled back. And then shooting the hand over. Great job. Inhale, come back through a straight spine. Right leg in, left leg out. Inhale, right arm up. Left hand down. Feel that opening through your rib cage. Inhale to bring it back to standing on your knees. Toes tucked or untucked. And let's bring our hands back by our hips, letting our heart pull forward, our elbows squeeze back. Start to lift your heart, start to lift your chin. Feel this heart opening of camel pose. Inhale, straight spine. You can either continue with that same one or maybe drop your hands down to some props or your heels, taking it even deeper into that camel pose. For 3, for 2, and on the 1, release. And we're going to come into a reclined hero's pose. So we did heroes earlier. For reclined, we keep our knees a little wider, more like a child's pose. And then we begin to sink our hips in between our legs. Now, not everybody that feels comfortable, so feel free to add props here as you'd like to make this as comfortable for those knees, ankles, or hips. You can add blankets, anything that feels good. Now, if it feels good to just sit here, that's a great option. Another great option is to bring your hands behind you onto the floor or even onto props. As we take this reclined heroes, you can stay right here or any of the options we've talked about already. Or maybe you start to come down onto elbows, or if your body allows, sink all the way flat on the floor. That is welcome for your practice. Take one last breath there. Inhale, root to rise. Come back through your tabletop. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Look back towards your feet. Begin to walk your hands into your forward fold. From here, we're going to bring our hands up towards our hips. We're going to take our funny grip. So we'll take that bind at our lower back, but it'll be the funny grip, the opposite hand. And again, those hands can stay on your hips or they could come up overhead. Or if taking the bind is not the best option in a forward fold, you're welcome to release, bringing hands to the floor or a prop. One last breath here. Exhale to release. Inhale, tall mountain into back bend. Great job. Bring it into your mountain pose. And we'll take a balance challenge before we move into our final resting poses. Cool down. So as always with balance challenges, you're welcome to move closer to a wall, either to have a hand there, or this one, it might feel good to just rest your body up against it if you need a little extra. Or another great option is to stack a couple of blocks or have a strap. We're going to take a balancing pose where we shift to our left and start to lift our right heel. Now you can keep the toes on the floor. You can bring them onto a prop. You can even hug it either with your hands or your strap. Start to find a spot on the floor that's not moving. And you can either stay right here or to really challenge your balance, maybe start to bring your forehead down towards your knee. Doesn't have to touch. It can if you would like to, but it doesn't have to. You're doing great. It can be very easy to dump all your weight into the lifted foot side. Keeping your standing knee bent. Inhale, straighten the spine. Great job, release. We'll take that second side. As we inhale, we start to lift the heel, maybe the toes, maybe holding on to the knee. You're doing great. You're always welcome to just simply stay here and work on this balance if it's enough of a challenge for you. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, start to draw your forehead toward your knee. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to release. Mountain pose. Beautiful job. Inhale, circle arms up and overhead. Hands can stay together or separate, but we're going to lean to the right. Back through center, to the left. Back to the center. Exhale, rain it down into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, go ahead and bring your hips towards your heels. And from here, we're going to come into a seated position on the mat. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together for a butterfly pose. You can sit on a prop or on the mat. You can bring props under your knees if you'd like a little extra support. You can keep your spine straight here. Or we've been kind of doing a few different options of curling into this safe space of joy tonight. So maybe you start to curl your chin towards your torso, or even towards your toes, or even maybe a couple of props stacked up, and you can bring your forehead to it if you'd like. And then allow your arms to gently rest in front of you, palms face up. Let this be a resting pose. As you breathe here, the inner hips, the inner glutes, Maybe even the lower back, all releasing. Can you simply breathe? Hold. Can you find something about this position that brings you joy in this moment, even if it's the thought that it's about to be done? One last breath here. Inhale, roll back to a straight spine, bring your hands outside of your knees, push them together. We find our seated staff once more. So it's a full circle. We started in this position. We're going to come back to it towards the end. Inhale, reach those arms up. And with an exhale, hinge over your legs. You can hold anywhere along the legs or the feet. That feels good for you. You can wrap a strap or a block around the bottoms of your feet. You can keep your knees straight or have a little bend into them. But we really want to feel this throughout the muscles of the legs, not necessarily in the knees or the ligaments around the knees. Great job. Staying right where you are. Begin to point your toes away from you. Grid to interlace your fingers, point the fingers. Engaging your core. We're going to roll up to a straight spine and then roll down one vertebrae at a time till the shoulders arrive and the hands stretch out overhead. Beautiful job. Let those hands swim down by your hips. Bring them towards your lower back so that your L shape of your thumb and your forefinger are nestled next to your hips. And then begin to walk your elbows under your body. We're going to come into a reclined fish pose here. Start to squeeze those shoulder blades together, lifting the heart. You can lengthen through the top of the head, or if it feels appropriate in your body, start to tilt the head back. Top of the head can rest on the mat or a prop, or it can dangle. And again, if that feels way too intense in the neck, just keep the neck in line with the spine. One last breath of fish. Exhale to release, coming back onto the mat, and then hug in that right knee towards your torso. So very similar to that standing balance pose here, but now we're on our backs. We've taken the element of balance out of it completely. And maybe lift your nose or your forehead towards your knees. Great job. Bring the head back down. And then take that leg across the body to the left side, taking it into a twist. You can shift the hips a little. You can add props. If having one leg straight and one bent is just not in your body's makeup, you can always bend both knees. And that is a great option as well. Just simply taking a couple breaths here, unwinding from all that back bending we did earlier. Great job. Exhale to come through center, sending that leg out long. Inhale, left knee into the torso. Again, you can hold it here. Maybe lift the chin, lift the nose or the forehead towards the knee. Exhale to release the head and take that left knee across the body into your twist. Making any adjustments on this side, it may be very different from the other. Great job. Exhale to unwind. Placing the feet in constructive rest. Take a gentle windshield washer, just 2 or 3 times, letting the knees fall in unison left to right. And then as you're ready, bring one knee and then the other in towards the torso into a ball shape. Maybe rock and roll left to right or along the spine. Give yourself a nice massage here, a little bit of playtime. And then we can't end a joyful, happy practice of playfulness without finding a happy baby. Letting the knees fall to the sides, the feet towards the ceiling. Maybe you rock a little, maybe you straighten and bend the knees. Maybe you simply enjoy the stillness, letting your back spread against the mat. We'll take about 3 more breaths in your choice of movement or stillness, or a combination of the two. Or maybe choosing anything else your body is calling in this last moment of movement. Great job. As you're ready, bring the feet back to the mat. And we'll find our final resting pose of choice. Maybe come back to that constructive rest that we started class with, or corpse pose by sending the legs out long. Maybe you want to add a pillow or a blanket, sweaters or socks. Maybe you want to take the legs up the wall. All of these are great options. So feel free to take any of them. Coming into your final resting pose, making any movements or adjustments so that you can start to relax on command. And we'll really find a comfortable position, adding anything we need to make it that so. Maybe even sitting in a recliner or a couch nearby if that's more comfortable than laying flat on your back. And then as you settle in, maybe you close your eyes or soften your gaze. Maybe you begin to rest your hands gently and take deep breaths in and slow exhales out, allowing any lingering tension start to relax and release. Allow yourself to fully arrive in this moment, feeling the support of the ground beneath you, letting your body melt into the props you're resting in, your mind settling into stillness. As you continue to breathe deeply, we'll bring our attention to the theme of joy. Joy to be alive, joy in the little moments that make life beautiful. Allow yourself a sense of gratitude for being here and alive in this moment with the gift of life. Now today I'm going to invite you to bring to mind one amazing moment from your day today. It can be anything from big to little, simple, extravagant. It could be a simple interaction, a moment of peace, a smile from a loved one, or any moment that did bring you joy today. We'll start to hold this moment in our minds and let it fill your heart with warmth. And maybe today was a rough day. Maybe you have to pull from yesterday. That's okay. See if you can locate one small moment from your day. Let the gratitude and warmth fill your heart. And we'll begin to slow this moment down together, to explore it with all of our senses. We begin by picturing the scene as vividly in our mind as we can, noticing any colors, quality of the light, maybe even the details of your surroundings that you can recall from that moment. Noticing maybe faces or even the objects that were present in that moment. Maybe start to recall any sound that you heard during that moment. Was it the laughter of a friend? The rustling autumn's leaves? The chirping of birds? Or perhaps even your favorite song on the radio? Let those sounds resonate with you from that moment. Start to bring to your awareness, were there any smells present in your moment of joy? It could be the aroma of fresh coffee in the morning, fragrance of flowers on the dining room table, or the earthly smell of the outdoors as we took our pet walking. Let those scents from your moment invoke the joy that you felt. Remembering, was there a taste associated with your moment of joy? If so, allow yourself to remember it. Maybe it was a delicious bite of food, a refreshing sip of water, or the sweetness of a treat. Relish in the memory, that taste. Finally, can you recall the sensations that you felt in that moment? Could have been the warmth of the sun on your skin, the soft texture of kitten's fur, the smooth hand of a loved one, or even the comfort of your favorite chair. Let these tactile memories enhance the joy of that moment. And as we immerse ourselves so deeply in the situation, sensations, and feelings, can you feel the joy of this moment expanding within you? Feel it radiating from your heart space throughout your entire being. Allow it to fill your heart, your mind, all the way to each of your toes and your fingers. Letting the joy become a part of you, something that you can carry with you throughout your day. Take a moment to thank yourself for the time you have dedicated to experiencing joy today. Thank yourself for being open to the beauty and happiness that life offers. As we carry the sense of joy and gratitude with us as we move about our day, remembering that joy is always within reach in the little moments of life that we are alive. Take the deepest breath of our day so far. We shift our awareness away from that moment of joy, bringing it with us. So we start to feel the surfaces that are supporting us, the temperature of the air on our skin. When you're ready, slowly begin to deepen your breath, wiggling fingers and toes, gently reawakening your body. Maybe roll your shoulders or stretch your arms and legs as we return to our day. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great day. Until next time.